So today we are going to be using handout Measuring Inches 1, and we are going to be using our reference material to measure, okay? So we are going to be using inches. If you look at your reference material, the first one you see is centimeters, but if you turn it over, you will see where it says inches. Okay, so look at the inch ruler. What does each number stand for? Inches, right? Each of these is giving you inches. So the abbreviation for inches is in, I-N with a period. If we look right here, it shows you right here. The abbreviation for inches is I-N with a period. This is the only abbreviation that uses a period. Okay, so an inch is about the length of the first joint of your thumb. So like from here to here is about an inch. Or the second joint of your index finger, okay, or like from here to here. So I can do this, and that's about an inch, and then that's about an inch, okay? So what do you notice about the length of the inch marks on your ruler? What do you notice about the length on the inch marks in your ruler? Well, you notice that they're all the same distance apart. They have more tick marks in between them, but they're all the same length, right? They're all the same length. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is you're going to be using your reference chart to measure, or to, not to measure, sorry, to draw some line segments, okay? So we're going to go ahead and draw some line segments. When you are measuring, you start from the 0, okay? You start from the 0, you don't start from the 1. And I'll give you some examples later on. Okay, so the first one that I want you to draw is, I want you to write, you're going to need a sheet of paper. So if you don't have a sheet of paper, go ahead and grab a sheet of paper and then pause the video. And for letter A, and this is, we're going to be measuring in inches. And then I want you to put I-N with a period. Okay, so we're going to be measuring in inches. So A, I want you to measure 2 inches. I'm going to leave a space, maybe skip like 1, 2, 3 lines. Letter B will be 6 inches. 1, 2, 3 lines. Letter C, 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, and then letter D will be 3 inches. Okay, so from here, go ahead and draw your line segments. Okay, so it would go from 0 to 2. That's 2 inches. I would go from 0 to 6. And here is 6. And then go ahead and do the same thing. Draw 4 inches and 3 inches. What are a few items that you can measure in inches? A pen, a ruler, a stapler, a mouse you can measure with a ruler using inches, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to, you are going to draw using your reference chart. I want you to draw, let's go ahead and turn our paper to the back, okay? So let's go in the back. And I want you to draw 1 inch. I want you to draw a 1 inch line segment. So we're gonna go from 0 to 1. So I want you to draw a 1 inch line segment. And then I want you to write 0 and 1. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so write 0 and 1. at the end of your line segment. Okay, now I want you to divide this line segment into 2 equal parts. So you're going to divide it into 2 equal parts, so right in the middle. Okay, what would each part be called? Half, right? This would be half. Right here, this would be 1 out of 2. And this would be 2 out of 2. Okay, so 2 out of 2 is the same thing as 1 whole. So if you look at the marks on your ruler between 0 and 1, do you see a mark that divides the inch into 2 equal parts? I want you to go ahead and mark that. This right here divides your inch into 2 equal parts. Okay. And then I want you to go ahead and label it as half. So if you look at your ruler all the way down, boys and girls, see how you have half? So that would be 1 1/2. This would be 2 1/2. So I want you to mark your halves. So let's go ahead and mark our halves on a few. So this would be 1 1/2. This one would be 2 whole, 2 1/2. And this would be 3 1/2. And it keeps on going, 4 1/2, 5 1/2. All right. So what I want you to do now is I want you to, underneath this one, we're going to go ahead and label A, B, C, D again. And we're going to draw some line segments. So we're going to do line segment A is going to be 1 1/2 inch long. And we're going to skip a few lines, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to skip 3 lines. And then let's do B. We're going to write 5 1/2 inches long. 1, 2, 3. Letters, oops, sorry. Let me zoom out. Letter C. We are going to draw a line segment that is 2 1/2 inches long. And then letter D, we're going to draw a line segment that is 4 1/2 inches long. Okay, and you're going to use your reference chart. Okay, so use your reference chart to draw. So here is 0. Here is 1. So this is 1. But they want 1 1/2 all the way over here. 1 1/2, okay? So that's 1 1/2 inches long. So I'm going to draw my line. Here's 0, here's 1, and then here's 1 1/2. Do the same thing for 5 1/2. So here's 0, here's 5. Yes, you can see it. 0, here's 5, and then here's 5 1/2. So you're going to draw a line segment that is 5 1/2 inches long. This is 0, this is 5, and this is 5 1/2. So go ahead and draw your line segments for C and D. Half, and then here's 4 1/2. So at the top, go ahead and write nearest half inch. Okay, so we're measuring to the nearest half inch. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and turn to a new page. And on this page, we are going to measure, well, I'm not going to tell you. Let's see if you guys can figure that one out. So again, go ahead and draw a line segment that is 1 inch long. So again, 0 to 1. Here is 0. Here is 1. And then put that aside. Okay, so we're doing a line segment that is 1 inch long. Okay, now this line segment, I want you to divide it into 4 equal parts. Okay, so you're going to divide this line segment into 4 equal parts. So let's do that. We're going to divide it into 4 equal parts. So, and we're going to label it after we divide it. You can put 0 and 1, and then 4 equal parts. Well, we know that this is half. Now we're going to divide it right there and right there. So find your half and then put a tick mark on the left and 1 tick mark on the right. And again, 4 equal parts. So what would each part be called if I divided it into 4 equal parts? What would it be called? Well, this, guys, would be called 1/4. So this is, because I broke it up into 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, this first line segment would be called 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and label it as 1/4. This one is 1, 2. So this is 2/4. It's kind of like when we're working with fractions. 1, 2, 3, 3/4. And then you have your 4/4 or 1/2. Okay. So boys and girls, what is another name for 2/4? Well, excuse me. Another name for 2/4, boys and girls, is half. Okay, half is another name for 2/4. And then what is another name for 4/4? Well, 1/2, right? 1/2 is another name. So do you see marks that divide the inch into 4 equal parts on your ruler? Let's look at our ruler. And when I say your ruler, I'm referring to the reference material. That's what I'm referring to. So here it is, right here. That's your inch, your inches. So we're looking, and can you see the marks that divide it into 4 equal parts? So they are a little bit longer than the half. So it would be this one right here and that one. And there you have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. Here's this one, and those are called your fourths. So this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. This one would be called 1 and 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and label it 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. This one I'm going to label 1 and 1/4, 1 and 2/4, 1 and 3/4, and then 1 and 4/4. Well, that's 2. That equals 2/2, right? Okay, so the length of these marks is a little bit longer than these other ones, but shorter than the half. Okay, all right, so now you're going to, on your paper, we're going to practice drawing those lines. So you're going to draw you're going to draw 1 and 2/4 of an inch. B, you're going to draw 4 and 1/4. C, you're going to draw 2 and 3/4. And D, you're going to draw 1 and 1/4. And we have to put inch with a period. IN period. So boys and girls, right here, if I go all the way over here to 7 inches, I would mark them the same way. Here's my half. Half is right in the middle. It's dividing my inch into 2 equal parts. And then if I divide it into 4 equal parts, which is this one, is a little bit shorter than my half inch. And I'm dividing it into 4 equal parts. That is 7 and 1/4. This one is actually 7 and a half. So it's 7 and 1/4. 7 and 2/4, 7 and 3/4, and then 7 and 4/4, which equals to 8, because 4/4 equals 1/2. So right here, you're going to go ahead and draw your 1 and 2/4 inch. So I am going to mark my tick mark at 0, and I'm going to go to 1 inch, and then 2/4, which is the same as half, 1/4, 2/4. So right there, and then I'm going to draw my line segment. That's A. For letter B, it's 4 1/4. So again, I start at 0. 4 inches is right here. 1/4 is only one part of the fourth. So right here. 1 of 4 parts. So right there it is. Because here's my half. This is my half. And then I have my 1/4 right there and right there. So this is 4 1/4. 4 2/4. 4 3/4. Again, think of it as a fraction. Okay, think of it as a fraction. And I'm going to stretch that out. And then go ahead and finish line C and line D. And use your reference chart to measure those lines. And 1 1/4. So let's go ahead and label this one as 1/4. So this is your 1/4. Okay, 1/4. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn it around. Turn your paper around. And, or you can get another sheet if you're writing with a dark color. Okay. And on this one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw another line segment that is 1 inch long. So another line segment that is 1 inch long. So here's my 0, here's my 1, and this is 1 inch long. And this time, guys, you're going to divide your line segment into 8 equal parts. So let's do our half. Okay, so here's our half. Then let's do our fourth. Okay, let's do our fourths. Are right here, fourth. And then we're going to divide it into 8 equal parts. I'm going to draw this line a little bit longer. Into 8 equal parts. So all you're going to do is in between your fourths, you're going to draw another line, another little tick mark. So 2, see, and that breaks it up into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that breaks it up into 8ths. Okay, so because we have 8 equal parts, these are your 8ths. Now let's go ahead and label them. So this is 0, this is 1. We know that this one is your half, right? That's your half. We know that this one is your 1/4. This is 2/4. This is 3/4. So guys, what am I going to call these if they're broken up into 8ths? What am I going to call those? 8ths, right? So this is going to be 1/8. 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. And if you guys remember, 8/8 equals 1 whole. So these are your 8ths, okay? And so what another name for 2/8? Well, another name for 2/8 can also be 1/4. Another name for 4/8 is 2/4 and half. Another name for 6/8 is 3/4. Another name for 8/8 is 1 whole. So if you look at your marks in between your ruler, between 0 and 1, right here, here you have your 8ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and your 8th. So those are your 8ths. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Okay, so those are your 8ths. And if you notice, they are divided into 8 equal parts. 8 equal parts. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and draw and label some line segments. And again, we're going to do A, B, C, D. So A, you're going to draw 2 3/8. And we're going to put inches because you need to know what we're using. Letter B, we're going to draw 4 6/8 inches. And letter C, 3 1/8 inch. And then letter D, oops. Letter D, go ahead and draw 1 6/8. All this, boys and girls, should be done in your journal. 1 6/8 of an inch, okay? So then you're going to use your reference chart and go ahead and measure. So here we have 2 inches. So I'm going to go from 0 to, here's 2 inches. And I know I'm going to count 3/8. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So it's right there. So 2 3/8. Then I'm going to go with 4 6/8. So here's 0. Here's 4, and I'm going to go 6/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. 4 6/8. And go ahead and label them. And then go ahead and do the other, go ahead and do C and D on your own using your reference chart. And then I would go 1/8, 2/8, and, oh, 1/8, sorry, 3 1/8. 3 1/8 right here. The next one would be 1 6/8. So 1 inch. So here's 1 inch. Then I count 6/8. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, and 6/8 right here. Okay, so these are your eighths. So at the top, we can label it EIGHTHS, eighths. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more thing before I let you do the others on your own. So when you're going, whenever you're measuring, and if your ruler does not start at 0, let's say that they're giving you this picture, right? And they started at 4. Well, you're not going to, this line segment is not 6 inches long. It is not 6 inches long. Since it's starting on 4, you would go from 4 and count up to 6. 4, 5, 6. So that would be 2 inches. Okay, so from here to here is 2 inches. 1, 2. Not 6 inches. Even if I started on 2, from 2 to 4, well, that is 1, 2. 2 inches. I can also just do 4 minus 2. If I go to this one and I start on 2, ends at 8, well, it is not 8 inches long. Because I started at 2 inches, I can take away 8 minus 2 is 6, and that is 6 inches long. If I start on, well, here I would have to add on to it, right? So let's do this one. If here's 4, we know that our answer is 4 inches, but if I start on 3, it finishes on 7. Well, I know that this line is not 7 inches long, so I would do 7 minus 3 is 4 inches long. Okay, that's just in case it is not starting on 0. But when you start drawing, go ahead and start on 0. Okay, using your reference chart, okay, you're going to go ahead and work with me on measuring centimeters. I mean, sorry, not centimeters, measuring inches 1. What is that?